Okay, well, welcome everybody to Mindshifters Radio. Today is Monday, August the 11th, 2025. I'm actually in St. Augustine Beach, Florida, getting ready to head to Orlando, where Jeannie is with Michael J. and Jamie and Kaylee Joe, and our newest addition to the family, Michael James, my namesake. So delighted to be with you, and let's say hello to Lucy. How are you, young lady?
Hello, Michael. Hello, Jeannie. Hello, everybody. Well, since we spoke last time, I had it probably was part of one, but like seems like multiple healing crisis. So
Good.
all is well.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. I have enough experience to look positively at that, at
Right.
least when it to that degree.
Got it.
So, yes, Michael, I have a question. This is based on, well, actually, you're talking about that all the time of truth, capital T. And
Right.
when I was listening in original codependence independence course, which we releasing now,
Right.
I hope I wrote verbatim, and from there I have a question. And pardon me, I guess I'm not reading my own handwriting. As we bring
I've never
truth,
had that problem. Ha, ha, ha.
as we bring truth up, our perception will shift to the point that we are more able to actually to be in actuality. Let it source our perception, construction, our understanding of the world. It's getting safer and safer to let it in. So the thought, which is the question it brought up, so we can have all the truth uh, based on a, let's say, that test score as high of the chart as you say as it can be, along with other numbers. But
Right.
what we're gonna do with 9-bit mind, which is anyway, if I put five people with of the scale numbers, and they still gonna be hit with the same information, and they all have their brain cells firing, and they are 9 bits at best. So how this first, what I just read, and which it sounds awesome, how old, can you speak on that?
Yeah, that sounds like a really on target thought and question refinement. So let me start with an offering that you are never going to experience actuality through your mind. We are never going to touch actuality with perception. The whole objective of the work, for me, is to reach a point with my carbon based memory system, with my mind, which includes all of my genetics, to reach the point where everything contained there is accurate and on target rather than out of harmony with truth. Let's compare it to a computer. I want an experience of life. So I sit down to the computer and I write, life is this and life is that, and it'll feel like this, it'll look like that, and it'll taste like this, and you have this moving in your veins, and your brain will go. And I can write all of that out. And then I can call it forward on the computer, and there I have this beautiful description, but I don't have life. I just have a beautiful, accurate description. My take is that's the best we can hope for from carbon based memory. That's why you'll often hear me say, in order to truly heal, you've got to be out of your mind. Now, once we bring that thing to correction, once there's nothing that goes against truth, what is the actuality in the database, in carbon based memory, then there is no frequency that will interfere with our ability to experience through our higher senses the actuality of the moment. Now, there's the Harvard research. To put it in context, that Harvard research we've talked about that says in a time frame where 10,000 brain cells fire, and this research has never been contravened, and it goes back to the 1950s. 10,000 measurable units of electrical activity are happening, and conscious awareness is made up of a maximum of 9 bits of data, 7 plus or minus 2 bits of data. And the data comes from what's stored in the mind. They've done some interesting research where they've sat people down and created an experience and measured how long it takes for the mind to produce a reality for that experience. And what they found is that before the mind presents, an event happens, an actuality happens, the mind goes, "Now let me see, what was that? Well, like we need to make up a story for that." And it takes somewhere between a minimum, they said, of 200 thousandths of a second, 200 to 500 thousandths of a second before the mind has a story for it, before the mind has a perceptual construct for what it is that we just experienced. So the mind takes what it has stored in it and presents what's resonated by this experience, and it's been estimated in the time frame where those 10,000 brain cells are firing and 9 bits of data are available, we're living in what might be a 20 trillion bit world. I mean, it's like trying to put an 8-foot 2x4 and the 8 inches between our ears. It can't be done. However, if we get that thing to shut up, if we can get its constructs out of the way for a moment, then my take is we have another set of faculties, which are the faculties of being, represented by words rather than the mind of man or carbon-based memory. The words were used as the mind of Christ, that we literally have the capacity as created human beings to access the actuality directly. Does that mean we're going to comprehend all 20 trillion bits of data? I don't think yet, but I think because it's there, we have the capacity to go there. But we got to stop playing around in this 9-bit mind and all of its fear and all its rage and hatred and generational sadness and pain and vengeance and grief and self-deprecate. We got to stop playing there. Otherwise, it's like that's the only game in town. And people who aren't engaged in the forgiveness process, if you've ever gone to a circus and they have a game called whack-a-mole, and you have a hammer, and this gopher sticks its head up one hole and you hit it, and then it sticks it up another, you hit it and you hit it and you hit it and you hit it. Most people live their lives and all they're doing is hitting away at their pain and their trauma and their hate and their vengeance and their grief and the generationally unresolved constructs of their minds. Forgiveness cleans that database up. And then my best understanding right now is that then the mind becomes a stepping stone into the next level of what we're designed for as human beings. And that is to live directly in the actuality. If you've got need for information from your database, the past is there. You need some information. Oh, I need some information about this. Okay, I go to my mind and I say, oh, that's the accurate information you have stored. Thank you, mind. But the mind doesn't source my reality, my perception, the way I think, the way I feel. It's just there's the information. And then life happens when we're directly, like actual life happens when we're directly acting with what might be a 20 trillion bit world. And nobody's even started to make up words for that yet. You go back to Yeshua 2,000 years ago, and he says to his disciples, there's so many things I want to tell you, but you can't hear them. You got no brain cells. You got no ability to go there. And so to me, that's developing the capacity to function from those higher faculties, to directly interact with the actuality, which, we have record of maybe a dozen in all of history, and everybody tries to interpret what it means. Those who, were said to have a higher level of awareness, or whatever words, the enlightened masters, what have you. And it's nothing more than those who've done their work, cleaned up their minds, and aren't living out of the collective brainwash of hostility and fear of the generations. Does that get to where you were going with that question or that thought?
Well, I definitely gonna need release on that because while you were talking, I had like couple of like very bright openings of feels bright,
Yay.
and I do not remember them. That's what I'm saying. I
That's
was
okay.
like, it
Well,
was like
there's nowhere for them
spark.
to land yet. You don't have the brain. We don't have the brain cells for it to land.
Yes, but like when
And
I
it's
practically
like,
saw that, then it means it's somewhere has a chance, right?
yes,
So let me just use my simple words. So I want to bring my those the truth as high as I can, possibly. Okay, so I'm there, and I'm the one who is doing the work. It's not like I just happen to have high score, right? Like for example,
right.
so it means it let me to face some unpleasant things
Yes,
in me, other life situations and everything. So I need pretty much truth just for that. And with that, I'm doing the work. And while I'm cleaning my case, little by little, well, besides the fact that it affects the field around me, it means people involved, I understand, and generation forward and back. With that, I am, and I know the word has to be love, but I'm going to use different intentionally word neutral. I can get so neutral so that my intuition would be not as a part of reactive mind, but
right.
actually true spiritual faculty. And with
Yes,
that, I'm able to know actuality and I have goosebumps all over
directly.
me.
Exactly, directly.
Exactly.
And there's a trick in there too, because the mind, excuse me, the mind has a cheap copy of every one of those spiritual faculties. So you hear a lot of people, they want to be psychic. I'm going to the
Yeah.
psychic. And you remember they warned people, stay away from the psychics. Why? Because the going through their
Oh,
own karma-based memory system. Maybe they're tuned into something, so they get this information. But let's say somebody goes to a psychic who's been through a horrible divorce,
yeah.
and they're having relationship problems. The psychic tunes in and projects from their brain cells, "Oh, you better get out of there. You're going to have this horrible divorce." And if the person buys the psychic's input, then they end up in the same boat the psychic is in. As opposed to the intuitive might tune in and say, "Oh, I see that you're having some challenges in your relationships, and it looks like you might need to learn to honor yourself a little bit more, and it might mean you've got to do some forgiveness around, being in control, but and lay out a plan for." Here's what's going to serve your true healing and arrival as a human being in the world rather than just rearranging the deck chairs in the Titanic, the garbage in the mind. And there are
Well,
5 of those faculties. The intensive we're going to do in November is 9 days of focus on developing and knowing when that intuitive faculty is on track, when it's accurate, and there it is. That's what that whole 9 days is about, is developing and strengthening that faculty. And of
yes.
course, part and parcel of that is when you're engaging in that, forgiving the interference patterns that might come up around different issues or different situations from carbon-based memory.
I would assume.
So you're right on track. I'm just, I'm so delighted to hear the question you're asking and the brain cells you've got, because you're right on it. That's awesome.
Thank you so much. And I think I'm very clear on that. So we'll see what else will come up.
Cool.
Thank you, Michael.
Yeah.
Thank you so
One other
much.
one other piece to add to the puzzle, and that is when you're developing those intuitive faculties, you want to be aware and let loose of anything based in any form of hostility or fear that moves. And then the other faculties become more and more available. And the other faculties are will, which is
Yes.
the ability to manage your own mind. And when you mentioned the truth score, There are three key scores that you want to have high and in balance, and that is not just truth, but honoring, pardon me, not just honoring truth, but honoring self and honoring others. When those three are in balance, that's when the mind is going to be most on track and will be able to support you in developing the will, the ability to manage your own mind, the intuition, the imagination, the ability to imagine in. Now, the cheap copy of imagination, the faculty with which we can reach into the actuality and bring new energies in, the cheap copy is fantasy. You know, in all the years of doing this work, lots of people get involved in, I'm going to start a center and I'm going to teach and I'm going to do this and I'm going to, and there's no legs under it. It's just a fantasy as opposed to the imaginative faculty coming in and feeding new information and then arriving at that point where perception is corrected and accurate.
Yeah, well, that's super important piece with two other owners. That's right. So, okay, thank you.
Honored and delighted.
Thank you.
So what else is happening in your world? What else is exciting in your world?
Exciting when I able to go through healing crisis. I kind of already have a skill, not just a skill, but yeah, if you will, maybe a skill. So I know how it feels, how not to dock under that. So that's what I learned this time around. It seemed like but again, I'm being very careful to say that because I never know which my next level is. But these last, I don't know, few months, well, I do know, few months comparing with others. So it seemed like I do it so much faster, and I'm not getting upset. See,
Awesome.
This is like to me, wow, I didn't even get upset. I'm kind of all right with that. In fact, it's good. It's everything what you were saying, always say that, next layer.
The
And
fruit of your work.
yes, and finally, at least now I'm there. So that feels pretty
You know,
awesome.
yeah, one of the other things Yeshua talks about is and actually the Greeks mistranslated it isn't the peace that passes all understanding, but the serenity that passes all understanding. And, if the mind tries to figure out what it will take to have peace, well, if Bill will only do this, and if Harry will only do that, and if Mary could do that, and then, if I had all, then I could be at peace.
Yeah.
And, when you do your work and being starts to incarnate fully in physiology, there's a serenity that the mind can't even start to explain. It's like, whoa, where did this come? I like it. Where did this come from? And you can't figure out. There aren't words for it. It's just a natural result of incarnating in body as you were designed to as the presence of love. And I hear that that's really clicking and moving for you, and that's awesome. That's what we're here to support.
Yes, and one more detail to that, which I found awesome. And this is pretty recent. And again, I don't know if it's going to be all the time or not, but lately, let's say if I'm doing the work around the subject and there is like parts involved, all of a sudden, and I had it yesterday and I had it a few days ago, all of a sudden, the knowledge, the knowingness is already, this is my ability to hear guidance or see guidance. I was absolutely like it wasn't even part of it, but it came as information, that angle. And let's say if it's people involved, it wasn't even about this person even wasn't involved in the whole construct, I thought. And then it comes as information. I'm like, okay, and I'm doing the work, and it's been one time just two worksheets, and yesterday was just one worksheet, and it was like, so I was so thrilled. This is, as using your words, fruit of labor or fruit of work.
That's it. That's it.
So
Awesome.
when information came, and I was like, habitually, just let me, it came here. habitually I was going to do that has nothing to do with that. But again, experiences, share okay. With experience, I already rely more on my experience and went with what was given, what the information was given. So that was like pretty awesome couple
That
times.
is very awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So thank you very much.
Well, when we talked last week, you mentioned maybe it's time to do quantum. Maybe it's time to do quantum.
Well, I know it is.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Well, we'll have
we'll
to get that
we'll
set up.
plan it.
All right. Delighted. Anything else on your mind for today?
Not right
I'm just
now.
so delighted for you. That's just,
Me
and
too.
the other thing the Course in Miracles talks about is millions yet unborn will benefit from the work you do. So it's not just you getting it. It's and Susan, who's doing the facilitating the codependence study now.
She's awesome.
I love it. She's doing a great job, and I love one of the
Oh,
things she says. It's like, and we're all uploading it, the work we do, to the cloud. So it becomes
awesome.
available to all of humanity. So
Yeah.
it's pretty sweet, pretty
Yeah,
awesome. So
she's such a gift. It's awesome. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
she's
absolutely.
got a great grasp and
Yeah,
brings another energy and perspective that just complements everything Jeannie and I have been doing, and it's awesome to have her on the team
absolutely.
and have you
Absolutely.
holding the space as well. It's pretty fabulous.
Thank you very, very much. Appreciate it.
All
Thank you.
right, blessings. All right. Well, Miss Jeannie, and does that resonate anything for anybody? Anybody have any thoughts, questions, answers, ideas that come from that conversation? Anything on your mind for today?
Well, you've got a big question from somebody in an email.
Well, if we're talking about the question that I was working on and planning to do today, I don't think we've got time to cover it. It's going to take a whole show. So, do you have other a question other than that one about Hebrews? And we'll
No,
invite
that's it.
everybody.
I'll
One
need
of
to
the
write
things,
her and tell her so she doesn't listen for today's.
yeah, yeah, okay. Um, and what I'll do, and we'll see. The priority is live. What's online for everybody when we get the show started, and delighted, just awesome for what you just shared. And I'll invite everybody to just check out Hebrews 12:6. That's the piece I'm going to cover, but I think it's probably going to take most of the show to do. So we'll wait until tomorrow, see if nothing live is on go. Then we'll go into that. But it's a question that someone asked, and it is such a perfect. You've all heard me tell the story about the person from Russia that calls and wants to come to a workshop, and brain cells and lost in translation, all of that. I'll talk about that in the context of what we're going to do with that passage tomorrow. But this particular passage just gives uh, a huge space in just a few words to understand why there is no such thing as a Greek translation of Yeshua's words, and why the Aramaic words of Yeshua are so important. So if you just would read that for tomorrow, if you're going to be on the show, then it will be helpful for everybody to have that on their minds. And
Hi,
if you have a
hi,
thought,
Michael. This is Carrie.
go for it.
Hi. I did
Hey,
tune
young
in.
lady.
Hi, I did tune in for the Greek translation thing of Hebrews, but seeing
My
as you're not
apology.
going, that's okay. Seeing as you're not going to do that, I did want to share an experience I had with the quantum breath work with everybody.
Oh, go for it, please.
So I decided to go and do 5 days with Michael rather than the 3 days because I wanted to go really deep, and I feel like I did. I feel like things are still unfolding for me from that session. And
Months, maybe years.
yeah, I mean, uh, it's so interesting. In general, I have um, more life force energy in me, flowing through me. And I have, so in my days, I just have more energy. It's wonderful. Being that the skeleton, as you described, the skeleton is the conduit as the receiver for a lot of that life force energy.
Yeah. Literally the antenna that brings it in. Exactly.
So um, opening up my antenna and getting rid of a lot of the fuzz, and I'm wondering too, maybe if this is something that has to be done more than once, but at the moment I'm feeling like, wow, there's some shifts happening, and um, I've just decided to just be in this place of allowing the unfoldment of whatever comes. And so during the 5 days, the first day, because the first day was a very somatic integration with the still point breathing, and I had a lot of still points on that first day. And Michael was doing pressure points in my soft tissue in different places, to kind of open me up, I think, to kind of receiving a more intense level of work. And I had a lot of pain in my neck at different points in my life. And we worked on that. And, that was intense. And then he started doing that the next 2 or 3 days. He started opening up, mostly in my skull, within my skull. And so
Yeah, we don't want to give away too much of the
no, okay.
physiology aspect.
Yeah. So it was opening up a lot of those places that are meant to move. They're meant to move. And they were stuck, basically. So that inhibits that free flow of energy. So as Michael was working on me, I think it was the third or the fourth day, I can't remember which day exactly, I had this experience where I felt like I slammed into my body, and this whole vibrational thing happened in my heart. Just like buzzing, buzzing, buzzing. And I said to Michael, gosh, I feel like I came back into my body, but I don't feel like I left. And he said, well, what I think happened is that you opened up the space for more of your soul or more of yourself to be present in your body. I'm not sure exactly what your words were there. I don't know. Maybe
Yeah.
you could.
My take was that you had entered for the first time physiologically your chest and your heart. You being love entered,
Yes.
incarnated in that local area of your structure.
So the other thing I've noticed besides this heightened energy is more of an outpouring of love for the world, for animals, for people, compassion. And it's just like, instead of meeting someone and you kind of hold back a little bit, and maybe there's a little clamping down of your heart or something, and it's so subtle you don't even notice it until you're not doing it anymore.
Right. Yeah, that's it. That's it.
So, it's like a self-protective energy thing, shields up, you know, when you're with other people. And so the shields aren't up in the same way. Now, I also think we do need to practice discernment, and we do need to have protection. And I do a sacred geometry thing with light for self-protection, from things that I don't want to let in, because I just, also noticed. So I was driving home a couple days later, and this woman behind me, I turned left into this shopping center, and she laid on her horn because evidently I wasn't going fast enough over some big bumps or something. And then I was turning left into a store, and evidently I wasn't going fast enough. So she was laying on the horn again. And then she threw me the finger, and I felt her energy come to me. And because I had my sacred geometry around me that I'd put up that day, I recognized, oh, that's not mine. That's not my energy. I don't feel it. I can feel it, but it's not mine. And so immediately I sent her love and light, because in my mind, I was like, this woman really is disconnected and could use some of my positive love and light. And so it just flowed out from my heart. And
Mm.
In the past, I probably would have received more of that energy, but I just didn't receive any of it.
There's an interesting passage in the one of the Gospels that didn't make it into the canonized, but Yeshua is with the disciples, and the Pharisees are really railing on Yeshua. And the disciples say to him, basically, why don't you sock it to them? Why don't you give them back some of some of what they're giving you? And Yeshua's response is, I have none of that in my store. It's like, I don't have any of it to give to them. So,
Yeah.
finished with it. And that's the idea. That's what forgiveness is the removal of what just never belonged.
So I feel like I'm starting to really, really instinctively and immediately recognize what is mine and what isn't
Nice.
in the world. And that also, when I encounter that type of energy, it's my job, it's my purpose to send out this love. Because like you say, everything, it's either love or a cry for love, right? So
Right.
there's that person in living in this world where she has so much anger and rage, is that I can send back something that she needs.
And now, in the past, had you been driving and somebody's laid on the horn 2 different times and gives you the bird, what would have moved for you?
My own rage.
Yeah.
Yeah. My own rage and fury and anger and all of that. And
Yeah.
what's the matter with you?
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Awesome.
So, there's the teaching and the brain cells and the intellectual understanding. And I think that has to come as well in harmony with the actual fruit of the labor, if you like.
Yes.
So, but before I can do the work, I have to know what I'm doing. So I feel like I've been building the brain cells, and I have been doing the practices and the work. And I'm not saying that I haven't. I'm
Right.
just saying that there's a level, or there's a point at which I needed to move beyond just the intellectual understanding. Oh, this,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah. Now it just happens. Now, it doesn't happen all the time. It didn't happen yesterday afternoon with my husband.
Now you got a little different connection with him. You've been intimate with him, so you've got his genes, he's got yours. So there's a whole other level of opportunity that comes in that situation.
Yeah. And so I was like sitting there afterwards, and I was like, what what is this? You know? So when I did the 3 earliest memories exercise this time,
Right.
I did it before, but I did it this time. And I had a couple of similar memories from before. But it's like I saw it differently, and all of a sudden, boom, 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 it really made sense to me. Those are the 3 things that are driving me now
Yep.
in all of my insecurities. And so that's my work this week as I'm going through uh, the exercises, on my honor for truth,
Right.
and using those things. I'm going to integrate them somehow in the mind shifters that I'm doing, and I'm doing the writing the word associations as well. So
Cool. When you did the 3 early memories, did you go to the next step of when I heal? Did you do that worksheet too?
yes, I
Good.
did.
Good.
I did.
Because that just gives you the perfect picture. You know exactly what, when the stress is up and the chips are down, and somebody gives you the look, is going to pop. You'll be able to go to that piece of paper and verbatim. Although
Mm-hmm.
your mind massages to go, oh, look what just happened to me now in this second with this person who did this terrible thing to me. And you go back to the piece of paper, and it's like every word, every sensation is right there. And it
Mm-hmm.
came from a mind of a 3-year-old.
Mm-hmm. I know.
And
It was
that's
like,
the power person dynamic that runs most people's lives, and they never wake up beyond it.
yeah, that was something I was saying to myself yesterday as we were waiting for our food after um my little temper tantrum. I was like, oh my God, I'm being 5. I'm being 5. I am being 5 years old.
What I found was really helpful to me is when I would find myself going into hostility, for me to say to myself, this is my mental illness. Because the mind, I mean, we're used to looking at this picture in the mind, and of course the pictures in their mind are nothing but an analog of the thoughts that are running in the mind. But it really looks, because I can see it, like it is actually out there. I mean, I see him doing that to me, so it must be true. It's like, well, if I'm settled in a place of connected love, maybe that did happen. I mean, that might be accurate. However, there's not going to be a disturbance in me about it unless there's a disturbance in me that needs to be healed. And that warning that they gave us about promiscuity, it wasn't because of what genitals do. It was because they understood the energy system. And literally, when we intercourse with someone, we literally give them access to our unconscious, and we take on their genetic history. And the person who's been in bed with everybody is not only in bed with everybody energetically the rest of their lives until they work through that stuff, but they're in bed with everybody that they've been in bed with. So it's
Yeah,
like, make sure you really want to carry this genetic history with you if you're going to become intimate with someone.
yeah,
And the beauty of it is that, if, and that's one of the reasons for the commitment, is to have a mechanism, because knowing that you now have access to what I've perhaps been hiding from myself all my life, and I have access to yours, having the goodwill and the ability to honor rather than play out the old power person dynamic. No, this is about you. This is your fault. It's like, well, okay, but you might want to just take a little look and see what this looks like. Does this look like your life? And if it does, maybe it's an opportunity to heal and to really develop a cooperative personal code. That's the idea of the commitment. It's a personal code for, okay, in relationships, here's how we get to heal. So it's a nice catch. That's pretty awesome. Good work.
yeah, yeah. Thank you, thank you.
Sweet. I actually had sent Joe a text, but I guess he's busy, because I know you've been communicating with Joe. And I mean, he had shared a while back that he had gone through some challenges uh, with his heart.
What's up, Ryce?
And oh, he's there.
I'm I'm always
Oh,
here.
I didn't see you. Come on. Oh, good. Well, I had texted you to say, come on in. Carrie's sharing this thing about what happened with her heart, and I just wanted you to share what you told me when we talked about that with your heart. What happened? I think
Yeah.
that was just so.
Well, I just think that the aspect of getting out of my mind and getting into my chest, or physically anyway, in terms of being in my heart, and of course physically, my heart is located behind my sternum here, and I just feel like I when I react in a joyful way, that I can really feel it so much more in my chest, in the feelings that I have relative to before I did the still point intensive with you. And that's kind of what you were saying with Carrie, is that there seems to be you can call it a drop, just because I'm less in my head and more into my feelings. That makes sense?
Yeah, yeah, and the fact that when you went through that medical challenge with your heart that you
Oh
shared
yeah.
with me when I asked you about it, you came out the other side, and man, I'm uplifted, multiple times as a
Yeah.
result of that experience because you did your work.
Yeah.
I
Well, that's just
relate
it.
that to, both Jeannie and I got COVID a couple of years ago, and with my lung history, decades on an inhaler and pills and blah, 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 without going to the whole story, and the number of times I've been around the sun, I should have been dead. And I had a wheeze in my lungs all my life. I started out, they told my mother that, or my father, that I wasn't going to survive the night because of lung issues. And that went on. Inhalator pills. First couple of weeks in school, I was always in an oxygen tent. I wasn't in school. That was when the lung stuff would hit for me. And had COVID. And Jeannie and I both got it, and we both did our work through it. And the wheeze that had been in my lungs all my life was gone. My lungs were healed by COVID, or at least the work that COVID inspired me to do. And Jeannie had been, she spends a lot of time at the computer, and her neck isn't always in quite the right position. So she was having a fair bit of neck pain, to the point where for quite a while she'd been using an electrical stimulator on the muscles of her neck to deal with the pain. And she did her work around it. And I don't think I've seen you with the stimulator on your neck since. Her neck pain disappeared as a result of COVID healing. So when we're challenged and we take it as the opportunity to go, oh, I'm in an energy system. There's something that needs to be dealt with in this energy system. It's an opportunity to learn forgiveness, an opportunity to remove what never belonged. And it's most amazing. So congratulations to both of you. Any other thoughts for you, Carrie?
Well, yeah, I just think if anybody's considering doing this breath work with the quantum aspect added in, I would really encourage you to do that, because I kind of went into it just stepping into a level of faith with Michael, not having any preconceived ideas of what might happen for me, or how it might shift anything in me. So that freedom to just kind of allow what happens to happen, I think, was a good thing. And I don't want people to think that just because this happened for me, that's going to happen for you. I think everybody has their own individual experiences, their own things going on that they need to work on. And everybody's going to have a unique experience with that. And at the same time, I just feel like it's going to kind of kick your butt into a new place.
Oh, now there's a good testimonial. Go see Michael. He'll kick your
You
butt
kick your
into a
butt
new
into a
place.
new place.
Oh yeah, right. Great.
you were doing so well, Carrie.
I know.
Oh dear, what fun.
Well, Michael, can I add something, Michael?
Sure, please.
Carrie, do you mean to say that something outside of you is affecting you? Is that what you're saying? I just Michaeled you. I just Michael Ryced you.
Yeah,
Michael
I
Ryce.
know. You Michaeled me. However, I
Oh.
couldn't have done it without that. I couldn't. I've done that on my own. I couldn't have done all that work on my own.
Uh-oh.
Yes, I'm still wishing I had somebody I could
No,
really get trained to do it to me. But
I can't. I can't.
Yeah.
And I feel like I feel like I can do this. I can take people through the still point breathing because I also got certified in rebirthing breath work with Sonda Ray, and I've learned a lot about the still point from Michael. But with this quantum stuff, you have to have a whole different level of training that I don't have. So yeah, so yeah, Michael did it to me.
and the truth is we can really truly be there in support of each other.
Yeah.
That's right.
And help to uplift each other. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
The key is where the denial comes in is when I think or speak as though what's happening out there is the cause of what's happening in me.
So that's an important distinction right there because, and that's kind of what I was trying to say is that everybody's unique and how you respond to that support is going to be unique for you.
Yes, for
Amen.
sure. And the key result, I've only done 15 or so people now, is it puts an end to the addiction to carbon-based memories, trauma, and drama stories, and shifts the antenna to make a full range of frequencies available that when we're either physically or emotionally traumatized, just are not received in the system. They're just not there. They're not available. I mean, they're there, but there's nowhere for them to land.
Yeah. So I feel
in
like
this
I have more
aligned
resources.
space. Yeah. In this aligned space, it's available. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like I can't receive channel 2 until I put an antenna for channel 2 on the roof of my house.
Right.
Without it, it's not going to happen. Or if I put up that perfect antenna for channel 2 on my house and somebody comes along and bends all the arms of the antenna and turns it backward, channel 2 is going to turn to garbage.
Now, I also think, Michael, that people don't have to do this.
No.
Because I think, and that was where the kick your butt kind of reference came in. It was like, what I meant to say was it like really projected me quickly into a more open-hearted place. However, I think people doing the worksheets, doing the work, and all of that it does open us up so much, right?
It's all part of the process.
Right. So I'm not saying people have to do this because there are other ways of getting there, but this was just a supersonic way to do it, I suppose. And
Right.
not that I'm not going to do, I am going to still do the other work because now I feel like doing the other work and the worksheets and the mind shifters and the codependence. I mean, I wasn't going to do the intuitive 9-day workshop in November. And now I'm like jumping in there. I'm like, oh, yes, yes, yes. Because not only do I want to be around the people in community, because in my community here, I feel there's not many people I have around me that I can talk to about this kind of stuff, which is why I initiated, having weekly or bi-weekly conversations with Joe, because I felt that I needed that sort of support of some sort of community. So going to the 9-day and to the intuitive thing in November is, for me, a way to connect in community. And I was so glad, when I said something about doing this quantum thing, and Lucy reached out to me and said, "Oh my gosh, and I thank you, Lucy, for reaching out, and we will talk soon." And I just feel like having this community is so essential. So having the codependency to interdependency support group, and I'm hoping there's going to be more support coming out of that rather than just all lectures, because I feel like we need to talk amongst each other, hear our stories, talk with each other, and find not just support for what we're doing, but also to find inspiration from each other, and to like when I hear stories, like Wednesday morning, I'm with Susan's support group. We talk, and I met some wonderful people on that, and I just love them so much because they're so vulnerable and sharing their stories and talking about what's going on for them, and it just opens my heart up so much. So I feel like that's another way I can get into community, and I'm really craving that at the moment, is this sense of community and being able to talk about my journey and hear other people's journeys. For me, has been so very important as I go deeper and deeper into this journey.
Definitely inspirational.
Yes. Thank you, Susan, for your Wednesday group.
And the quantum still point, for me, my best understanding at this point is that it doesn't mean anybody's finished with their work, but it ends the addiction to what comes up. And when stuff comes up, I can go, oh, here's another piece I need to work on, rather than I'm lost in it. It's got me by the face, and this is the truth, and blah 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 blah. So it doesn't mean one's finished. And this is not something that we talked about, but if you would keep the details of what happens with it private, that would be appreciated, because if the ego knows what we're going to do, it's going to set up blocks and shields and tend to compromise the effectiveness.
Yeah, and it's nothing horrible.
Oh no, it's pretty powerful. Pretty
No,
sweet.
it is very powerful. And I found as I was going through it, of course, the breathing helped, and also just the receptivity. I was like, I'm here to receive this. This is why I'm here. I'm here to receive. And that was my mindset going into it.
That's good input. Thank you. Yeah. Yay.
Yay.
Anyone else have any thoughts, questions? We've got 3 or 4 minutes. If that resonates a question for anybody, just hit your mute button and say hello. And if not,
Hello.
Go for it.
Linda here.
Hey, young lady, welcome.
Oh, I'm getting younger every day.
There you go. I hold space for that and join you in it too.
Right. I was going to comment earlier, but I'm glad I waited, because every comment that everyone else has made has been substantial for me. I'm going to leapfrog all over the place. I love this community of love. I just wanted to share with you that I'm very grateful for all deciding not to take the intensive, no matter how much I thought I should. That was the trigger for me. And I backed off and realized that there was some deeper goal behind that. And I think Susan Kluwak brought it up very well today, the self-worth and the approval and all of those, honoring the self. And that's been one that has been pretty much a tank for me in my evaluations. So I'm going to pull those evaluations out. And Jeannie said I had one more, so I will be doing that evaluation as soon as I can, as I can. And I will be sending you a little greeting card pretty soon, and some other things that I would like to have a conversation with you some evening. It's all good, and I think that takes us to the end of our hour, just about.
Cool. Yeah, we're pretty close. Pretty close. I had called you the other day because when I was reviewing the videos of the codependence workshop, and you were there, and you were talking about, and you brought this up a couple of times on the show, and I heard it differently. That's why I called you the other day and left a message. I heard it differently than I'd heard it before, because I often talk about, hostility is a drug to cover whatever pain is going on, fear, whatever's going on, and you have shared on more than one occasion that you find that you're using fear to cover the hostility. And as I heard it, when you shared that, re-listening to the codependence intensive, my offering would be that it might be beneficial to look into whether, if there were moments especially with your power person, that you were in some form of hostility, if they used some form of intimidation to shut you down, to shut you up.
Yep.
And that would be the layer of energy that you'd want to pull off. And the distinction being that literally, and why I didn't agree with you before when you said you're using fear to anesthetize hostility, is that hostility is literally an internally produced drug, an anesthetic. But when I heard you say it, then it was like, click. Okay. So this is the energy that was used to make you shut that down, not necessarily anesthetize against it. It's not that you're not feeling it. You are feeling it. So the fear isn't an anesthetic like hostility is, but it sounds like, when you've affirmed it, that it is the mechanism that was used to force you to close that down, to suppress that. So that'll be some good material. That'll probably create huge relief, especially in your throat, your sinuses, and your head, as I sense it right now.
Yes, and I really noticed with this kyphosis how my heart center is closed down. And maybe it has to be closed down towards myself. I'm not sure from what arena, but I'm having real challenges getting that to open up. And and with the breath. I hold my breath a lot, as I've mentioned before. So I think it's directive to get back into my yoga, regardless of all the excuses I have as to why I don't have any solitude, silence, or space. And so I'm looking at all that.
Well, joining you, and there's an old saying: breathe, breathe, breathe. Same thing, day in and day out. Just let
If
it
all
move
else fails,
to
breathe, right?
deeper, deeper,
Breathe.
and deeper and deeper layers, all the way through this
Yep.
system. And something and I've said this on the show a time or two, it's something that more recently has occurred to me. And, for me, it was kind of like taking for granted, well, we're breathing, so what? You just breathe. It's not like nothing. But what occurred to me is this thing we're doing is we are literally breathing the breath of the Creator. This is a direct sharing with the Creator that we're doing when we breathe. And for me, that was like a transformation.
Yeah, I like that a lot. And how literally, if we don't breathe, we're dead.
That's it. Yeah. You cut yourself off from the Creator. The game is over. That's it. Yes.
The game is over for this
So
life,
just
and then
moving
I get
into
to come back.
just moving into appreciation for the fact that we
Breath.
get to do this thing with the Creator is like to put it in a place of honor and reverence rather than, well, yeah, you just take a breath. So what? It's like, wow, I get to take a breath.
So like not only honoring the Creator, but honoring ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
As one. One as one.
Sweet. All right, young lady, we hold the space, and everybody, thank you for joining us. Create the best year yet of your eternal life. It is an awesome gift to give the world. Blessings. Bye-bye.